KLF 59 of Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We record it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, or we're watching the comments that are coming in from people watching us live. Same with over on YouTube. Every once in a while, we'll take the audio from the show and post it up on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage anybody that's listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback on whatever platform it is you're listening, so we know where you're at, and hopefully that'll get us recommended to more listeners, and that's part of our goal. So we do appreciate that favor. There's 4 hosts. 3 of us are here today. We got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, glad to be here, eh?
We got Dano jumping in from Illinois.
Yeehaw!
This is Smeggy Zaywall, and then I'm down here in Arizona. So let's see, we're digging into a Wednesday show, so we'll be talking about entertainment. We're talking about entertainment. Hunting tournaments is our first topic. Then we'll get into good idea, bad idea, big bore for EDC or CCW. And then if Smeggy shows up, we'll do the Daily Gun Show, the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown, where we judge your Instagram photos that have our hashtag on them. We'll also do all the normal stuff we do on a daily basis, the gun shop of the day, gun of the day, things like that. But before we dig into it, we usually take a break at the beginning, see if anything happened overnight, anything worth talking about.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I can't remember what I did last night. I'm getting old.
It was Tuesday, so it was hit or miss. They had a show, and people were in the lobby. I was working on the cards. I had to redo some of the art stuff for the new publisher, learning how they like their format. They're all in the lobby. Bob was drunk, so he just doesn't remember. We're all happy because your girlfriend went to sleep, so he could stay up. And he drank like too many beers and fell asleep.
Pretty much, yeah.
There you go.
So off air, we were talking a little bit about dash cams. Has nothing to do with guns or nothing, but it has to do with the Gun Show Loophole Tour, which is about to start up again here, and at least with my van version of it. So we were talking about dash cams, and if anybody's got any knowledge on those or any experience from comparison shopping or doing any kind of research on purchasing one, chime in. You can always email us at dailygunshow@gmail.com. Each of us have some interest in them for different reasons, so I'm sure we'll do a van chat on them specifically, but I don't want to dig too much into them. But one of the things I was going to tell these guys before the show, I don't know if you know that they have this feature. I think they call it different things like parking guard or stuff like that, but basically the camera is, if you put it into this mode, or if some of the cameras are just always in this mode. Let's say you stop somewhere, you turn the car off, and you leave the car in the parking lot somewhere, or overnight, whatever, you leave your car alone, and the camera is wired into the main power. As long as you have your camera always powered, it'll basically be on all the time with its motion sensors. So just like a light that'll come on if somebody walks in front of it, like a security light, if somebody walks in front of your camera, it'll go on, and it'll record as long as there's somebody moving, and then for whatever amount of moments after. So that way, everybody that walks through a parking lot gets recorded. Everybody that comes up and pokes around looking in your windshield gets recorded. Anytime your car gets bumped or jarred, right, because it's got that sensor for accidents, it'll also record. So, there's examples of cars getting hit in parking lots and people just drive away, but because your camera turned on and recorded everything while it was happening, you got their license number, and you can take that to your insurance company. So I really think that parking feature is a way to go, especially when, I'm going to be all over the place camping and stuff. I like the idea of having the thing kind of having extra eyes out.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. I think something like that might work really well on my motorhome too.
And I'm thinking as far as just technically for filming the gun show loophole tour, right? We're trying to go to gun shops every day. Like park in front of the gun shop, point the front of the van at the gun shop so that as people are walking in and out of the gun shop, the thing keeps recording footage for me. And then I've got that B-roll or whatever they call it of, people walking in and out of the front of the shop.
Right.
That footage of just driving down the road, sometimes it's interesting because of the trees or the sunset or the, landscape or the cityscape or whatever it might be. You get all those and you can get a large enough card at the end of the night. You just pull off whatever 5-minute segments you want to use as B footage for your YouTube videos.
Yeah, I've tried to do that with my phone when I've taken some of my trips, and I have one of those mounts where it mounts into the vent for like the air conditioning, and it unfortunately the dashboard cuts off like half the picture, so you can just see like some of the trees in the sky. So you definitely have to have the right kind of mount.
Well, and then dash cams are all about a big wide angle 170-degree camera with glass lenses that cut through the dashboard reflections and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the problems I found with using my phone. I had a mount that you could actually put it and just point it out the front and show video, and I think I did a couple of videos like that. But the phones, I know it's so focused, you don't get really, you don't get really the whole view. You need more of a wider angle, which is I think where these cameras would be handy. So yes, I think that's a good idea for.
All right, so I'm looking at the comments out there. There's a couple of things. Yeah, there's a weird noise. That's my fan, right? Because I'm sitting in the van trying to test it out, and it's 100 outside, so I'm using that to get ventilation. So it's just something that'll happen, I guess, when it's hot out. I'll see if I can't figure out a way to stifle the noise part of it or something. Put a piece of foam over the laptop mic, perhaps, or a little fuzzy piece or whatever that usually kills wind noise. And then on the other side, they were talking about the news we heard this morning. And I forgot about it since we talked about it way earlier on Early Watch this morning. So over on Gun Channels, I don't know, it starts in the morning here in Arizona, so I don't know what time it starts back east for you guys, but Jimmy James does the Early Watch show, and I had heard on the news, on the radio earlier in the day, and we had talked about it a little bit earlier, just like saying the Early Watch, that they are did you hear Trump's announcement that they're no longer going to allow transgenders in the military at all?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm not serious with a heart attack. He came out and said it in no like misunderstanding way. Like after conferring with my generals, we're no longer transgenders in the military.
Right. Yeah. Well, and he's looking at it from a businessman's point of view. It's really expensive because they're under government coverage. They go in there and then go, I think I'm a woman. Well, now the Army's got to pay for this guy to get gender reassignment surgery, which is freaking expensive. So yeah, from a money point of view, yeah, I think if you shouldn't expect the Army just to do that for you just because you joined the Army as a dude and now you want to be a girl. That's dumb.
And I kind of wonder about the hidden expense of the lost in productivity of when that person does return to duty, as to the amount of water cooler talk, so to speak, and disruption of normal workflow that absolutely is going to happen and exist, and how much that actually costs for one person.
Well, very true. But I'm thinking more just the cost of the surgery is
right. I'm just saying that it's more than just
not
the
all
cost.
there is. It's not an isolated thing like, oh, I need to get a hangnail.
It's something like they think there's something like 600 of them in the military. I mean, it's a tiny number, but at the same time, I don't know. Should make up your.
The other question is that because it is so expensive to have those sorts of surgery and the ongoing hormone replacement stuff that those people have to have, is would it cause people to literally join the military with the hopes of having that paid for by Uncle Sam?
Kind of like getting that
because they couldn't afford to do it on their own.
There's got to be a couple of step-by-step instructions things online for that kind of stuff. There always is for whenever there's bureaucracy and there's ways to abuse it.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's such a small percentage, right? Like 600 people out of your whole military. That is just a tiny amount, like, you know, but it's still going to cost a huge amount of money. So, yeah, it just makes sense. If somebody wants to have that kind of surgery, fine, but don't do it on Uncle Sam's dime.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the other part, which is Uncle Sam's time. You only have 30 days a year, period, that you're allowed to get leave for. And that's not enough to go and have the pre-treatments and then recover from the surgery and return back to duty being 100% of the new whatever you are.
Sounds like somebody's done the math already. So in some ways, though, isn't there some responsibility on the military's end for all of this?
I don't think so. I've always believed in a high degree of self-responsibility.
Yeah, if you go to join the Army and you know, maybe you're 25 years old, but you have cancer that's going to have to be treated, they're not going to let you join the Army.
Right.
You know, so
it just.
But then
your sex change, you can lie and hide.
But then you
your
join
cancer,
you
in order cannot
to serve your country, and you're willing to put your life on the line, and you're willing to take the life of someone that's necessary to protect your city and your country, right? But then they give you a 9mm. That's got to be conflicting for some of these people.
And after yesterday's show, Mr. Glock 19 9mm lover, you ought to eat those words.
That's civilian. That's totally different. I'm just saying.
I think he might have been delirious from the
confusion that could happen if you're in that situation.
Yeah. No, I don't feel it's the military's responsibility to have to endure the initial cost, let alone the ongoing cost of somebody who had issues probably long before they ever joined the military. And by issues, I mean questions of identity. Now, if they want to go off and do that on their own, fine. I'm all for it. You go off on your own and do what you want.
Well, once again,
I got no problem with that. Just don't ask me to pay for it.
There you go. Now that's what I'm saying.
Now, I'm sure it's the amount of social justice warriors are going to go on fire over this issue.
Oh, I doubt it. They don't listen to us.
No, not over us, over Trump making his statement.
Oh, yeah, they're going to all just...
It's a big position to take, for sure. And people are going to see it as a, I don't know, what do you call it? Yeah, lifestyle or some shit. When we're not talking about the Forest Service, where worst possible scenario is you mismanage the Forest Service for a long time and you have bad fires, or you don't predict the volcano or something. But we're talking about the military. We have to be well-honed brotherhood of well-working machines. Like Daniel says, I think there's a certain amount of cohesion or something. That's not whatever that word is that you need.
Yeah,
and
cohesion.
The side of that isn't just I had surgery and this happened. You come out different, and it's a totally different situation. It's weird. So I could see it being disruptive.
The military still has not, in all practice, comparing it to the way it was before, recovered from no females in combat positions. And also the unintended consequences of those actions, as an example, on board all the aircraft carriers, one by one, as females were introduced, the amount of rapes and harassment that went on board those ships of 5,000 men and 2 handfuls of women. I mean, it's just inviting problems. Yes.
Yeah, but
It's
isn't keeping women out actually kind of promoting homosexuality then? Because
no, it has to do with who is best for the job, the stronger person or the weaker
No,
person.
but are you going to suggest that? Yeah, that's just something
You
that
cut out.
doesn't. I think Bob's suggesting that everybody in World War II was because they were in a divide. What do you call that? Separated military. This doesn't make any sense.
Segregated?
No,
Is that the word?
In World War II, they had all those villages and towns they went through, and all those women were so happy they'd been liberated that, yeah, there wasn't any problem with finding a woman.
No, I think they were happy, but it was another H word you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's not like people go to ports. Come on, Bob. I'm not. I don't know what goes on in the Navy.
Sailors wouldn't do that. They could get a disease or something. That's crazy.
I mean,
sailors have sex with women when they get to ports. That's not true.
What's not true?
All right. Well, Bob's taking this from dash cams to, or we've gone from dash cams to. So let's get out of that.
Let's get back on topic.
To the gay sailors. Yeah.
Subject today is entertainment, hunting tournaments. I've been more familiar with fishing tournaments than hunting tournaments, honestly. Yeah. I can remember back when I was a kid, they would have them for like game birds or whatever. Like people would go out in an afternoon and just different fields and stuff, and then come back to some place and see who got the most birds or something. But that's about the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's about the same.
Deer, something like it during, like maybe clubs would have like the person with the biggest deer or something at the end of the year. There might have been something like.
Well, they do that like provincially here. Like every province has a wildlife association, and they always get together and have big dinners and shit like that. And they usually have their own magazine, and they always have a section in there for any of their members can put in a picture of their biggest deer, and then they can win a gun. Or the kids, there's always a section with their kids' first kills. So you got all these 11-year-old that's killed a black bear with a bow. It's kind of cool. So that's the way I've always heard of them. I can't see how you would arrange a deer hunting tournament. I would just seem it would be. I guess you could do it, but it seems like it'd be pretty small scale.
So wherever there's like soya beans and corn, and they got all them big fat deers, they're trying to kill as many deer as they possibly can. They give them like 3 or 4 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, depending on the state that you live in, you usually are limited to so many tags, i.e. deer per year, and it's not unlimited.
Well, not unlimited, but more than like the one we get out here.
Yeah, there's places where you can get more than one deer tag.
But, those are typically states where there's almost more deer than there are people.
Right.
I suppose, and everybody just have their favorite deer stand or whatever. I guess they can have things like that. But those are, I don't know. That's almost it.
I mean, but to keep people from cheating, I don't know how you would do that, because somebody could go out 2 weeks earlier, shoot the big buck, or a big duck, and then freeze it. And then, bring it out 3 days beforehand, back into the field, let it thaw out, and then claim you killed it that day or the day after.
No, nobody would go to that trouble.
Potential, but I don't think people go to that extreme. I don't think people go to that extreme for local tournaments and stuff.
Depends on the prize,
I guess.
Anyway.
But I do know there's people that feed their deers, like they'll feed them big bags of whatever stuff to make their antlers bigger or make them fatter, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of thing could be part of a competition. So Meat is saying on the YouTube side he's competed in a 3-man rabbit hunt tournament, prizes for biggest, smallest, overall weight, and on team for the limit 4 each. So that it could be a tournament, I guess, depending on the year.
Actually, that sounds like it'd be fun.
What about if it was like an elephant hunting tournament? Would you participate in that?
Well, if there was a plethora of elephants, certainly.
Oh, see, Bob's all about slaughtering the elephants. Walked right into that.
Lots of them. Why not? They're just big,
I'll pass.
really smart cows with trunks.
Enrique saying it sounds silly to have hunting tournaments. I know they have them though. I've heard of them before. I just haven't participated in a long time.
Well, like, would it be wrong to have a fishing tournament for, like, say, whales? Or maybe porpoises?
People like whales. But fishing tournaments, you know, that's, I guess, a little easier because everybody just pours out into one lake and catches as many fish as they can in a day and then comes back, and you know, that's the results. With hunting, it's definitely got to be different because it's not like you're all going to the same field. Well, except for like those birds, you're not going out to the same field for deers though. No. So it has to be more remote or some sort of, you know, judges going with people or something. I don't know.
Well, either that or it's something like it's you know, like there are game farms where people go and hunt where the animals are basically just fenced in an area. Maybe that's where they have those tournaments too, you know.
Winners though, when you're basically just one. But I guess when you think about like with whatever the racks and the scoring and all that, I know that I guess on the big scale, there's probably like the biggest, you know, deer caught every year, or the biggest, I guess, killed every year, or the biggest sheep or whatever, biggest bear. Yep. So in a big sense, there's that sort of, I don't know if it's really a tournament.
Well, just the pop quiz the other day with the guy with the world record elk and what he used to kill it, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's in the record books. So that you can kind of look at it as a tournament. So every year there's kind of a big tournament to see who gets the biggest game animal of that year. Pretty sure like magazines have that. You know, they always have, oh, the biggest, you know, there are organizations out there, right? I've never hunted for shit like that, but I just hunt for the fattest, juiciest looking ones. Mm. So, I don't know, man. I'm getting a little cool. I might have to put a windbreaker on.
I mean, I guess the ultimate, you know, competition is, you know, whether it be the biggest in your county or the biggest in your state of any particular game animal. And that sort of thing, of course, goes on indefinitely. And every year is another opportunity to, you know, that van keeps poking its nose into the video. It is a competition that's, you know, now and forever, you know, and the prize is bragging rights. Don't look through the little hole in the screen. Don't pay attention. Don't look at the man behind the mirror or behind the curtain.
That's the old man out there. All right. So I guess that's hunting tournaments. We don't know anything about it, but the whole goal of our show is to talk about these topics and give you something to talk about with other people about guns, right?
Yep. And now that we've talked about that, anything else on this topic?
No, I don't know why.
Let me see. Let's dig in.
It's time. It's time. It's time for the Tactical Pop Van Quiz. All right. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, put your cursor down in the text box, limber up your fingers. G-Webs, have you seen the question and the answer, and are you available to help with today's pop quiz?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I will read the question twice. In regards, I will give you a suggestion on the answer. And my suggestion is don't worry about your exact wording. It's the meaning of your answer. We will have to read into it. And don't worry about the exact words. Okay, today's question was sent in by Cycle Camp, so thank you for doing that. And once again, we are running very low on questions for the Tactical Pop Quiz. So if you have some time and opportunity, please consider sending in some questions and answers for the Pop Quiz to dailygunshow@gmail.com. We would appreciate it greatly, and it helps keep the pop quiz going and fresh. So today's question: in reloading, what does the term fire forming refer to? In reloading, what does the term fire forming refer to? Nothing? Nobody?
Corner shot. Oh shoot. Using fire to form. Brass shaping in chamber. Case fire in barrel seasoning. 42 Russians.
Brass shaping in chamber should win it, I think.
Which one?
Brass shaping in chamber?
Generally speaking, that seems pretty close on to me without getting too specific.
That was the first answer on the YouTube side. The gun channel side barely got around to answering even similarly. So I think that goes to Steadily on the YouTube side today.
Steadily, congratulations. You are today's...
It's to answer, not the most difficult question, but one to formulate a response that was
yes.
quick.
So Steadily, congratulations. You are today's Tactical Pop Quiz winner. The general answer we were looking for was firing a formed case from one size chamber to another. That was generally the answer we were looking for. And you came up with the closest version thereof.
I think Steadily's version was actually a better answer than the one we had. It meant the same thing, but it was much more succinct.
So if you heard me while Bob was trying to interrupt me, hopefully you got the gist of that.
I didn't even start to talk till you were done.
So, Bob?
So Studley or Steadily?
Steadily.
Steadily, okay. Well, you never know. Some people could have that name. So Steadily, I guess that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Congratulations, Steadily. From YouTube. And YouTube always complains about how they never get it because it's too slow. This is yet another example about how you can be a winner even on YouTube.
Dan, we quit talking about that like a month ago.
No, you stopped talking about it. I brought it up as an opportunity. All right, so where are we at here?
Well, we do appreciate the people that watch us live, and that's one way that we can say thanks. We sent you a link there so we can keep you on the roster, and eventually here we'll get our stuff together and start appreciating everybody even more. We ask you to do the other half of that and to help spread the word. We're going to be putting a lot of time and effort into checking out new gun shops every day. So, people to talk about that with would be the opposite side of that. And people that would be interested enough to support it with $1 a month would be even better. So more people we can get out the word to, the better we'd be off. So with that, we can talk about good idea, bad idea, really our second segment of the day. Before we dig into it, though, we usually take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day. Feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community focused on firearms. Of course, lots of things to do over there, but it's completely driven by its members. And with that in mind, we feature one of the members each day. Today, it's one of the co-hosts of this show back in the day, well, not too long ago, Island Z. And he was just here yesterday. I don't know if he's out there today, but it's from Hawaii, and it's been a member of Gun Channels for a long time, and participated quite a bit to the extent of joining our show for a long time, many months. And big part of Gun Channels.
He was here for about 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's certainly great having him while he was here, and his presence is definitely missed.
Oh, yes, especially at movie review time.
All right, and with that, we will dig into Good Idea, Bad Idea, where we face off and talk about a subject that's controversial, and we slug it out until we figure out who the winner is. So today it's Big Bore EDC. I'm going to assume that means Big Bore CCW. So left to right, Bob, Good Idea, Bad Idea?
Oh, great idea.
Dano?
Bad idea.
Really? I'll say Good Idea. So that means Dano's the one who's got to defend his position.
You've got basically a one-trick pony with a 44 Magnum.
You got too much power?
You know, I knew you two were going to jump all over me over this question.
What about
And the reason it's a one-trick, and just because it's a one-trick pony doesn't mean that it's weak or pathetic or anything else, or that it cannot possibly do other jobs. It does not do those other jobs well because of its limitations. It has excessive recoil. It, unless you're firing a Desert Eagle, which is like trying to conceal carry a brick, it's not practical to carry in that situation. It's not that you can't, it's just not practical. Now, if you're going into wilderness areas and looking protection from wildlife, absolutely, it plays an excellent role there. If you want to go hunt with your pistol, plays an excellent role there. But it is a wilderness gun, in my opinion, being that most people who don't open carry, even if they're allowed to, that sort of firearm, it's very rare that you see somebody carrying that. And when there are so many other choices with so many more options other than being stuck to a revolver and one with excessive recoil and low round count.
All right, well, we don't even have to go any further, but Dano's changed my mind. So now Bob's the one who has to defend his position. I'm on Dano's side. It's ridiculous.
Well, my position's simple, right? I mean, Dano, you're completely ignoring the fact that 10 millimeter is considered big bore. They make a 10 millimeter Glock one of your favorite guns. That is, it's easily possible to conceal a 10 millimeter Glock. I've fired GWEBs, and they're not a big gun. And there's hardly any recoil. I mean, even with a 44 Magnum revolver, there isn't that much recoil.
So how many agencies are currently carrying the 10 millimeter?
Well, that's because they have to allow women in.
No, that's avoiding the question.
No, I'm saying that's why they can't have 10 millimeter. I'm sure if the police departments could, they would, but they don't have women with thick enough wrists. They don't have women with manly wrists.
So you're saying that the large bore doesn't work for everyone, which is why the FBI doesn't use it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if you're a little girl, you can't carry a real man's gun. That's all there is to it.
But then you're also going to recommend it to everyone as a CCW option?
No, I'm merely saying it's a good idea if you can carry it if you're a man.
Are you saying that only men should be concealed carrying?
No, I'm saying only men can handle the recoil of a short-barreled 44 Magnum comfortably, obviously, because even people like you complain about the recoil, Dano. Of course, you shoot 9 millimeter.
And I won't pull an underhanded, dirty stunt, which I could. But your argument is lacking in evidence. You know, the little things like facts.
You know, when they asked Clint Black, why do you carry a 45? You know what he said? He said, because they don't make a 46.
And that has what to do with the question? We're not talking about an individual. We're talking about generally
real men
people.
can handle big bores.
They're bringing up a good point in the chat that if 10 millimeter is big bore, then that means 40 is big bore. And most people say that it needs to be 44 or bigger to be big bore.
Well, 10 mil is touted as having the same power as a 44 Magnum. That's why I'm counting it.
Bore, though. We're talking bore.
Well, I guess if you want to take that out, then sure. It just leaves the, auto mags and things like that.
Well, I don't agree with you. There is more recoil, and you may not perceive it because you choose not to, but in real life, there is more recoil in especially the subcompact 10. It's a lot of juice coming out of that thing, and it's not for everybody. So I agree with Dano. You're talking about option that you have to then justify in a court to your peers that you decided to take something on the extreme, an extreme, not the extreme, but an extreme level of skill set to operate effectively, and that's a position that you shouldn't need to take when you can just as efficiently use any other caliber that you'll never have to justify your choice. So going to choosing big bore is a choice, and you will have to defend that choice, and I really can't see why you'd want to handicap yourself literally in court with that. Just, I mean, aside from like going to a barbecue on a Sunday and you carry your big fancy 44, worst situation happens, you need to use it. Okay, well, normally I carry my normal practical gun over here. This is a day that I don't feel like carrying two guns, so I carried an impractical gun for the day. Big deal. I can see justifying that in court. But if you're like, I carry a single action 44 because I think it looks cool, well, that's not going to hold up in court as to why you had a stray round, knock over something that you're now in court about.
Well, now you're just stretching out, what could happen. That could happen with any carry gun.
Well, no, it could happen with any gun, but you could say, okay, yeah, I missed, but I also practice a lot. When you got to say, oh, you missed and you hit that television set. What if that would have been a child? Well, okay, I don't practice as much as the guy who shoots 9mm because my ammo costs 3 times as much, and it hurts me to shoot it as much.
I mean, I'd like to throw another example out there since we're talking big bore, not power loads. We had a gun of the day just the other day, 11mm. That
what?
Was
11mm.
Yeah, we had a gun of the day that was 11mm. It was the gravity gun.
No, it wasn't. It was like something or another millimeter Flaubert. It was like a tiny little bullet. It was like a 32.
No, the gravity gun was because it was a self-contained cartridge. So they needed a projectile that large in bore to hollow out the center to put the powder.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the one yesterday.
Yeah, it's usually basically the same kind of round as the Volcanic did.
Right. But that is technically a big bore gun, yet it is still inappropriate for a totally different reason.
I don't know how,
but it's still inappropriate.
So I think Bob's going to be on the losing end of this one. Sorry, Bob, but you didn't come up with any good. I
still believe I'm right, so it's all good.
So I guess the Big Bore Club.
Well, hey Bob, when you start to carry, send me a letter.
You wanted me to mail you a letter from when I was in Arizona?
Yeah, from like months ago. Anyhow, we're pissing off the Big Bore Club, but that's what we're here for, to get conversations started so they have something to talk about tomorrow. If you don't agree with us, then maybe put some Instagram pictures up there with our hashtag, and then maybe next week or tomorrow or whenever Smaggy comes back, we'll do a hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown, and we'll judge your pictures off the Instagrams. But since we need to wrap it up sooner than later here today, we will kick that segment to the curb, and we'll go on to Bob's Gun of the Day. If that works for you.
Yeah.
And I can't screen share because I'm sitting in the van and I only have one monitor, like a chump. So the Volcanic.
Now you know how I feel every day.
Yeah, it feels like I'm sitting down to pee.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Volcanic repeating pistol. You have to imagine it. It looks like a gun, but it's old and it's got a weird lever on it and it's curvy. It looks kind of like a stick. Go ahead, Bob. Now you can describe it.
No, it's another gun that actually used what we'd call nowadays a caseless ammo, in that they just had the hollowed out base of the bullet and they filled out with propellant and then they'd put a cap on it. Well, of course, that limited it to being kind of anemic, you could say, but very interesting concept because only, wasn't that long ago that the big thing was going to be caseless ammo and, there's no ejector. There's nothing to eject. Yeah. Anyway, these were doing that way back when. It actually became the Henry repeating rifle. This is the gun that was designed and eventually evolved into the Henry repeater, which evolved, became the Winchester. So yeah, it's a very historic gun. I say the pistol one didn't last. They did make rifles that used the same cartridge, and they were a little bit better because they had a little bit longer barrel. Easier to shoot because they didn't have that little silly ring thing. But yeah, it was an interesting concept. It was a dead end as far as pistols went, but the basic mechanism became the Winchester lever action rifle, which makes it, pretty important. That's my gun of the day. Volcanic repeating pistol.
Right on. Any guns? You ever seen one?
Yeah. Yeah, gun shows a couple times.
I've never seen one, except in picture.
I don't think I have. Well, except for in museums, probably.
Yeah, I know I've seen them in museums too. So.
All right. Well, today's going to be, unless somebody come up with a gun shop today, we don't have one in here, and with everything going on, we've been neglecting scheduling the show a bit. You can always kick us into gear by making us feel like chumps by going over to Patreon and putting a bunch of money in there. And we're obligated to get the stuff more spruced up. But till then, we're looking for a gun shop of the day today. We do like to feature a new one each day. And we're still docked, so nobody's looking at new gun shops yet, except maybe Smeggy. He's out there doing something in his fancy new truck. So why don't we do the movie of the day? Every day we try to talk about a gun-related movie, something you might not have seen in a while. The idea is to remind you of something you can watch on Netflix or Amazon or wherever. And today, I don't know who gave us the suggestions that we're looking at now, but Way of the Gun. I know we've talked about this one before, but pretty neat for gun handling. And at the time, it was a pretty new kind of movie. Back in the middle of the 90s, I think, right?
Yeah.
You seen this one?
Kind of showed a lot of realism in the gunfights, and that there was a lot of rounds fired and not that many hits.
And it was like bad guys were good guys for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where they got.
Yeah. The basic synopsis, without giving away the ending, is two criminal drifters without sympathy get more than they bargained for after kidnapping and holding for ransom the surrogate mother of a powerful and shady man. Was made in 2000. I have not seen the movie. Big surprise there. But
I'd watch it. I think we've told you to watch it before. You just refuse to watch anything good. So you're not even using our own show to better your...
Well, no, I had a family. I was working 12 hours a day off shifts.
We're talking about
since
we've been doing this show and keep recommending to you to watch good movies. I know we've recommended this movie to you before, so you're just not watching it now.
Yeah, he's just having too many naps.
Well, see, now it comes down to I'm too cheap.
Oh no, this one's all over the internet. You don't have to pay to watch this movie, unless you're not paying for Netflix or something, I guess. But I'm sure you can watch this one somewhere on the web.
I think it's on YouTube.
16 years old. Come on. Or maybe we should do some sort of like DVD trade around thing, because I don't care about my DVDs, and especially if I'm going to be on the road, what do I care where my DVDs are? So I don't mind shipping around some DVDs if people want to watch some of these movies and they can't find them on the internet.
Yeah, you might want to take one of those little cheapy DVD players that, or I guess you can play those on your. You can play a DVD on your laptop, probably.
Why do I want to watch movies that I just said I don't even want? I would.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Is like, you can.
But I know where to watch them on the internet. I just go to the internet and watch movies. So there's lots of sources out there.
Somebody's got the secret key.
There's no secrets. There's Netflix. There's Amazon. There's YouTube. There's all kinds of places. Just basically type in the name of the movie and say, full movie or something, and you'll find places that have it. All right. Yep. So with that, let's keep going. So if anybody out there wants to, you know, participate in this interactive new media we're trying to create here by being individuals creating content, not scripted, not on any kind of like selling you shit basis. We're just trying to do our thing here. So trying to keep the audience involved. If you guys want to suggest a gun shop, that'd be great. Otherwise, I guess we'll dig into the last thing we got, which is gun history.
Well,
and
before we do, there's a comment from an earlier topic that we had from Enrique that I would like to maybe explore a little bit. I don't know if we can. And he says, why is big bore and just barely big bore a big deal? Question mark. Friggin' bullet is a bullet at close range. ... What do you think about that? I mean, getting shot in the heart from 5 feet, whether it be a 32 ACP and getting shot in the heart with a 44 mag, has the same end result.
Doesn't matter. So what we're talking about is, I think the relevant point to that is what you said in your supporting your position, that what's more difficult to shoot, what's more difficult to control, what requires more skill to put on target. And that's where, who cares what they do when they're hitting? It's, you know, what matters is what you can put where intentionally. So that's where I see the difference between big bore, which are bigger. There's more mass in the bullet, so it means there's more recoil, because that's how the laws of energy work. You know, you're pushing more stuff, it's going to resist more. You know, it's going to cause more push on your end. So that requires more effort of the shooter, more experience, whatever you want to say, more skill.
Right, more practice in being able to handle the recoil.
Yeah, muscle, literally. More ability. So that's where I see the difference. Not so much in the terminal ballistics, because there's all kinds of ways you could diminish it and say that a 22 is effective, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I just thought he had an interesting question.
No,
interesting statement.
I think it is too.
Yeah, I think it was interesting.
Well, silently going through the day's history stuff, it's super boring. Super. In 1775, the Continental Congress established a postal system for the colonies, with Benjamin Franklin as the first postmaster general. That matters.
Well, isn't it amazing that
I'm sitting inside of a van that was owned by the U.S. Postal Service from 2002 until like 2 weeks ago. So thank you, Benjamin Franklin, for hooking me up with this van.
The system that is older than this country still exists today.
Yeah, and it's kicking out sweet vans for me to drive around in. So I'm all about the post office now. You know what's weird? One of my first road trips, actually my first road trip on my own was when I was a dumb kid, and we were gonna take some money we made during the summer and buy a post office truck, the old ones that looked like Jeeps, because those were like $200 back then. So we were gonna buy one, and then we were all into just MacGyvering it, like doing it live, whatever they called it back then, the equivalent back then. And we were just gonna bring tools and like a backpack and go, and as much money as we had, and we got talked out of it. But I thought that would have been a cool road trip, to just have to constantly be fixing this little dinky $200 Jeep, and it would have been all shitty. And now I'm, however many years later, 30-something years later, in a post office.
Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly. In fact, I almost bought one for $500 back in the very early 80s. The only reason I didn't is that at that point I was a nail and my father was the hammer, and he said, no, it's stupid.
That's kind of what happened to us. I needed to find Mike, though, this kid that that we went on my first road trip with, and see if I can't figure out where the hell he lives and go by and show him my post office truck.
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, use Facebook, I imagine, right? That's what it's for. Find people.
Yeah.
But what attracted me to it is, if you want a unique vehicle, you can spend $40,000, $60,000, or as UWeb said, $250 and get a unique vehicle that nobody else has.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that attracted me to it.
And they were fleet vehicles, so there was going to be parts of them all over the place. They were AMC.
Oh, yeah.
And they were
they were just a Jeep.
Yeah.
Oh, except they were, I think a lot of them were all two-wheel drive.
They were the other side drive, which was awesome. So that'd been cool. And no air conditioning or nothing, just like old Jeep.
Yeah. Just a 2-wheel drive, English style driving.
But those things were beat. That's why they were selling for nothing. They were selling them to people to use on farms and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Because they were beat up. But anyway, so that was today in history. So thanks again to what's his face, Ben Franklin. He's one of our coolest founding fathers in a lot of ways. Liberia in 1847 became the first African colony to become an independent state.
And Liberia, if I remember correctly, was also set up by the United States as the state after the Civil War. If they wanted to go back to Africa, that was set up for them.
Ooh, ironically, in 1948, today in 1948, after we talked about what else happened today, right? An executive order, President Truman calls for the end of discrimination and segregation in the U.S. Armed Forces. So is that intentionally done on the same exact day?
I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, it used to be, regardless of service, there were, all black units of Army infantry. There were all black units of aviation. I don't know if they had ships. What they did?
No, actually, no. Black people could serve on ships, but they pretty much only served as cooks and stuff, I think.
Right.
About that. Anyway,
and then now today we've got transgenders, all with a tear at the corner of their eye.
600 of them. So then in 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. So pop quiz, hotshot. What's the 19th Amendment?
Oh, shit. I can't remember.
It's the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution granted women the right to vote, prohibiting any United States citizen to be denied the right to vote based on sex. So today's...
That's the beginning of the end.
Then
now we just deny them the right to serve depending on confusion of gender.
And then lastly, in 2005, today in 2005, Space Shuttle Discovery launched, making a return to space after the Columbia crash in 2003. So a piece of space history. Stanley Kubrick was born today. That's interesting. Mick Jagger was born today. Not too much gun stuff. We look for gun stuff, but in light of gun stuff, that's what you get. What else is on the list there? Yep. So not getting much comments coming in on the YouTube side. Got some stuff coming in on gun channels. Enrique said, remember the old ads where you could buy military Jeeps in a crate? I seem to remember those.
Yeah, I remember those.
My grandpa would tell me when I would talk about buying that stuff, he'd be like, I could have bought that stuff right after the war. Like, they would have still had it, whatever, like, ready to be shipped overseas. They didn't even ship it. They would just ship it to you instead.
Yep, still loaded with Cosmoline.
Yeah, just like a Harley in a giant crate. Like, I'll send it to you. You wash it off, and you got a brand new Harley sitting there. Like,
yep, in olive drab.
Nobody wanted any of it because it was all stuff that reminded them of the wars. So a lot of construction people bought it all, and it got used to build suburbs. All right, so I think with that we can talk about Wednesday. So it'll be Clover Tack. Is he right now? I think he was right now. And then
I'm not sure what time his show starts, but it is today. Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Yeah,
Clover Tack.
Right before Matt. And then Matt will be on Never Enough Ammo. And then I don't know if Heavy does a show on Wednesdays or not. I don't know. He keeps sneaking in a show. He might have been right before us, for all I know. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. But before our show, head over to Gun Channel time during the day, and you've got Good Morning Gun Channels. Sean Connery hosts a really long format show, Tony York from Illinois, as well as Jimmy and the other guys will jump in and have long, semi-formatted, semi-open discussion, many hour-long gun chat. It really makes a better thing to listen to than the radio or something. An alternative, I guess I was looking for. Otherwise, is there anything else?
I think that pretty much covers everything.
I think I'll throw in one last thing, since the people that are listening at the end of the show tend to be the people that give the most shit about what we're doing. I am sitting in the van, getting ready, getting the dog acclimated to sitting in here with me, just figuring out, how hot it actually is. It's a 100-degree day in Tucson, they claim. I think it's a little bit cooler than that, but it's definitely comfortable in the van with the fan going, so the noise you're hearing. But this isn't. I put all my everything in buy in the van, so there's not a lot of funds to make this trip keep going. So I added a new perk over on the Patreon on the gun websites one. If anybody wants to take a look at that, it's $15 or $12 a month, I think, and I'll send you business cards from the various gun shops we go to. That way, it doesn't cost me much, and it's really just putting gas in the tank. But you get something each month in the mail to be part of the Gun Show Loophole Tour. If it's something you think is interesting, somebody that's going around, driving around, looking at gun shops for the sake of looking at gun shops, not because Brownells is sponsoring me or not because some optics place is telling me to look at their stuff for sale. No gun company is telling me to sell you nothing. We're just going around to look at gun shows and gun shops and museums and stuff. If you think that's cool and you think it's worth $1 or $2 a month, that's really the concept here, is to get a couple of 100 people, maybe 1,000 people throwing in a couple of bucks to pay for the gas. And I'm trying to make it happen on my end, so I can keep getting the cameras and the podcast out around the country. Let's get rid of some of this apathy that's out there. It's getting to where I'll be on the road, so we can use all the support we can get. This show will be one of the main methods of getting information out when we're out there. So stay tuned here. Of course, stay tuned over at Gun Channels. And again, appreciate everybody that shows up live and watches the show and participates with it, both financially and just sharing it out on the various social media platforms. That really helps.
So if someone is interested in helping you out, let's say on the gas, should they contribute to the Patreon for this show or somewhere else?
It's a good question. I'm going to try to do my best to make that clear for everybody. So one of my goals before I head out there is to clear it all up. So like I say, I'm in an effort to do that. I'm clearing up the Patreon. No more patch of the month, because I know I'm not going to be around, hopefully, to be able to send those out right away. So instead, we'll do some of these other things. And I'm going to be doing Indiegogo to do some stuff for just recuperating some of the van costs and getting some of the, like operating capital underneath me, so I'm not going straight back to credit cards, ideally. So there'll be a couple of different methods. I know some people, like I just got a check in the mail the other day. Somebody wanted to support what we're doing, but they don't like doing the online stuff. So they just asked if they could send a check. And, anything really, honestly, is going to help at this point, since this is all, we're running on fumes, but the whole point is to start something new and try a different approach to battling apathy and offering a different way of creating content out there. And so to answer your question, I don't know. There is no best way. I'm trying to make it, without being too complicated, appealing to everybody. So you can buy stuff at the store. You can just donate to PayPal, I guess, if you wanted to just throw money at us. But, we like to think if somebody's going to get something tangible in return, make it worth their while. We got the store over there. We've got the shirts and stuff like that. We get $3 every time somebody buys a shirt. I never have to touch them. So, a couple of people buy a shirt a month, that helps kill off some of the bills. Anyway, I don't want to make this a big pleading for money type of thing, but I want to appreciate the people that are out there listening through the end of the show. Because like I say, there's the people who are usually supporting us the most. So thanks for being out there, making it, there's no way I would have even started all this if there wasn't somebody out there going to appreciate it. So I don't know, do you have time to do it? It was about ending the show because of your thing. Maybe I will go to Springfield.
I just saw Smeg show up. That's why I mentioned it.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're the one who has the time limit. So right back at you. Do you got time to do it or no?
Smeg, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry
we were
about
to end the show, but we were then questioning, should we do the hashtag Showdown. I can't screen share. Can somebody else screen share?
Oh,
Yeah, I can.
Then do you have time, Dano?
I don't know when my commitment's going to get here exactly. I'll do my best.
Well, then if Snaggy can screen capture and he wants to do it, we'll tackle it right now. So now you have to put down your pens. You can no longer hashtag any Instagram pictures because the judging has commenced, technically.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
That's okay. There's always a natural gap in every conversation about
Oh my
every
God.
20 minutes.
That came back to life.
It's not. It's a thing. It's from the old days, but I'm bringing it up to the new days.
Okay.
I'm glad that you recognize it.
All right, I'm sharing. Quabam.
So while we're waiting for that, oh, I guess we got it.
Oh, I knew he was going to do that.
Do what?
Somehow that blue thing was going to make it into the show.
Oh my God, it's in the top post. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
And I
Where's
used
the hand?
hashtag, so get over it. So we have 632 posts. I believe we had 509 something last week.
It's in the show
598.
notes.
So we're looking at about 34.
So, I mean, we got, this was weird, is when there are new ones in the top post and they don't show up down later. So we got some like weirdo with some pancakes or whatever.
Well, those are top posts, not necessarily new posts.
I know, but I just know for a fact that these ones are new.
That is a complete ripoff, and that's evidence of my scam where they charged me $2 for those chocolate chips on there. $2. I'm pretty sure I got charged, and you can count the chocolate chips. There's literally no chocolate chips on that half a pancake right there.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What are we doing counting chocolate chips on pancakes?
I don't know.
Can we look at pictures? This is
We are
like porn
looking at
time.
pictures.
Okay, that's not a bad looking truck except for the decal that says 4x4. I'd take that off.
Oh,
What
I like
about
the
the
color.
decal that
Bob
says
doesn't like
gun
his
channel?
universe and always got a 4x4.
I like the gun channels one, but you know what else I'd do is I'd get rid of those tires and put real tires on there. Like you put some 285s maybe. Those would look
I think he
really
already covered this. He wears out his original tires before he puts on fancy ones because it's impractical to just throw away good tires.
Yeah.
No, you sell them on Kijiji or eBay or something like that, and you can get like a couple $100 for them.
After all, it's not like they were designed for those tires. Oh, wait a minute. They were.
They were designed for the and then they put the cheapest version of that tire they could on it.
Well, I don't know.
It's a good-looking
Anyways.
truck. Congratulations.
They're not
Thank
good
you.
tires. There never are good factory tires.
Oh, be quiet.
Yeah, Bob doesn't know what he's talking about, but that's all right. But I'm with you. I like having different tires, so yeah, I wear it out, then I sell them. But
Yeah.
anyways,
But that
here's
one's long because
That one's excellent.
spin
That
those
one is
wheels.
the dual picture or the dual color
Yes.
contrast thing going on. That's pretty awesome.
Oh,
The bitone
So,
tone.
if you notice, like it doesn't quite line up in the back. This line.
Yeah, it's about a 16th of an inch off.
Yeah. So Moon, take a new
is that
one.
airsoft? Is that an airsoft gun?
All right.
That's a repost. All right, I think that one's from a long time ago.
Mr. Wright.
That's from a long time ago too. It's from June.
He's looking at old ones.
That's an old one.
Okay, now that those were the most. So those were the top posts, but there were some new ones in there. So I went through those.
You see what Tony paid for those?
Oh, well, you asked how much you pay for them?
Yeah, they say right there, 68 and $72,
Wow.
and they're new.
Yeah, single shot 12 gauge, and they fold up. Not as nicely as they could, but that's still pretty tight. You could throw that.
Bob.
Bob's got to piss on stuff, otherwise he wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
But for that,
This is a Chris Steele photo. How can I tell? He has a certain style.
yeah.
That is true. Although I don't know if he's ever done doubles.
Oh, it's a twofer.
And this one definitely looks, I mean, it could just blink right into that river.
Yeah, but it's a Glock. Wouldn't it float? Being all plastic and stuff.
Pick it up, shake it off, shoot somebody. Shoot a deer. Shoot a bear.
Well, not with a 9mm.
What is that? Toy? Or just an effect?
I think it's the blue
That's
gun.
a blue gun. That's a practice gun, a dummy gun made of solid plastic for training.
Okay.
It says he got it from Heavy B.
Yeah, he got it from Heavy this morning during the early watch show. If you have been listening or watching, that was part of it.
I was in and out on that show. I missed the part where he got a blue gun, though.
Explode attack.
I guess. I mean, it's a bow. I don't know. I want to learn how to shoot a bow. But yeah.
And just a lot of practice.
That'll be useful when the Canadians are sneaking down, and you can take them out without making a lot of noise, so they don't realize you're taking them out.
Pile of
Yeah,
shotgun shells.
Yeah, but I guess they got gold on there, or he's going to fill them with gold.
They're holes.
You think so?
Look what it says.
Well, this is when people say gold. This is what I think of, but
Oh.
I don't think they're made out of gold. Maybe they are. I don't know.
No, he's he's that big a high roller. It's one of those guys like does the Instagram with all the hot chicks. I like this one, but we watched it before, so we've seen this one.
Well, it says it just posted, so I think the dude just really hates eggs.
It seems like a waste of eggs, unless they were bad.
Well, dude, how much eggs cost?
Chicken,
$2.
too many eggs. Huh?
So, yeah,
That is cool though.
crap, dude, 100-yard shot shooting eggs, like that's pretty good.
It is. What's he shooting with
Oh,
anyway?
it's 100 yards. That's damn good.
Yeah, what was he using to shoot with?
A rifle.
What kind of rifle?
I could guess, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, well, screw you then, Daniel.
I think it says
Let's
on there.
see, 223 wild, AR-15. I mean, I'm just looking at hashtags. I'm guessing it's AR-15 and 22 wild.
No,
And
that's,
Shoot.
5.56. No, I see. You just used all those.
oh,
I
man,
don't know.
that's perfect, man, for sniping gophers at 100 yards. Oh, because that's about the size of your target.
So if you put an egg on the top of your head, Bob, would you let him shoot it?
No,
And then we got this popping around that
Now,
That's
that
just good
although
news
I
we
realize
talked about
this
the other day.
article, as a statement, which is what a picture is, I think it's an excellent statement.
yeah, I think so.
Oh wait, this is a repost.
Yeah, but see how awesome it is when Moon gives our hashtag on there. When people start moving, reposting his badass pictures, then he's helping out our show, along with everybody else, like Hashtactical and whoever else he's helping out. So that's the power of social media. That's how, like Chris, he's getting reposted all over the place too by now, I'm sure, and he's really helping out the show. We do appreciate it.
Oh, there's a handful of Glocks, I guess. Oh, it's people in Arizona scared of the rain, I think is what Jimmy's saying here.
Look how much rain there was. Can't live through that.
Or the fact that it rained, period, is like finding gold in a parking lot.
Normal people ain't gonna live through that. It's not raining in that picture.
No.
Well, we just found a winner right here.
Doggy wants to go to the range.
Yep.
Got some sights.
Yeah, that's Artisan Tony, and he had put this luminescent, I don't know if it's paint or gel or whatever it is, but it hardens on his standard Glock sight. He had big dots on it and removed the big dot sights. Put the original rear sight back on, and put the front sight back on after he had put with a paper clip. He had just kind of like dabbed on a little bit of that glow paint, and then let it harden.
So not the back.
But not the back.
Okay.
That's kind of cool.
And swapping out a Sig 320. This one, I thought, yeah, okay. I thought there was an extra. So you take all your stuffs out of the one, put it in the other one. It's just that simple.
All right. How many more we got to go here? Where are we at?
I don't know.
That's kind of cool. He's like telling us if we don't like give him a like, he'll kill the tree.
Well, it definitely should. It's another unique aspect which Chris is pretty good at, and that's definitely a diversion from what his normal style is.
Yeah, I kind of like it. That's very interesting.
It's
or the tree dies.
Let me guess.
I
Egg
really
Madon?
hate eggs.
Back to that one from one ago, Chris's.
Yeah, you really don't like eggs.
Woo!
The other way.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Tat.
Yeah.
Talking about this one?
Right. Could this possibly what it looks like when that Voda consulting guy is out camping?
That's possible. That could be his backup stash.
Yeah, you just leave it
Or
there.
like
between
the
the tree in case
tree
you need it.
tried to talk shit or something. Like the tree was wise lipping him.
Yeah, the tree could have been like, yo, my friend was used to make that ceiling.
Yeah.
All right, that's an
Anyways.
obligatory Voda.
All right. So who are we? Are we voting?
No, what are you in a big hurry?
No, I'm just wondering. Because I keep thinking we're seeing pictures that we already saw. I haven't seen. Oh, yeah, I saw that.
We ain't seen none of these pictures. Look at that.
Yeah,
one.
this one was 4 days ago, so these are
Flash
new.
them off, building robots with PKMs on them. How awesome is that? Sucker Russian hackers think they're so.
For someone who is so scared of Skynet, you think
Oh, I'm
that
not afraid of
Russian
Russian
robots with guns on them is a good idea?
Yeah, because we're going to be able to take them right off the Russian hackers once they take them from the Soviets.
You think so?
What about when Skynet takes them?
Skynet, we'll just take them offline. Poke them in those little eyes right there. 45, his little eyeballs.
Okay. Someone who's so scared of Skynet, I see.
I'm aware of Skynet. You never be afraid of a robot.
Oh, okay.
What's up with the too much to eat theme?
You don't like breakfast. Oh, actually, Jimmy was sitting around this morning and he don't eat breakfast. And there's a picture of him eating breakfast right there. So, something shady going on in his breakfast.
I mean, everybody likes breakfast.
No go. Don't put crap on your eggs. That's dumb.
Yeah, that's just like too much food to eat.
No, that's about right.
Anyways, at least we're back to guns.
We get to look at somebody's shoe.
What? You always find like the weird stuff. Like I'm looking at the mag, and I didn't even notice that till you said it.
And now you can't help but look at it.
Go down to a picture of a naked girl and he'll go, her shoes untied.
I'm a detail-orientated person.
So, another one of Chris's.
Yep.
That's one of the sub 2000. That's kind of a cool looking gun. Oh, a puppy dog.
I played with that puppy before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a cute puppy.
And destroying eggs.
Actually, that's an apple.
Yeah.
I thought apples he did last week.
I don't know. This is 5 days ago.
I think he just winged it.
What is that?
Is that what happens after he shoots the egg?
That's a breakfast biscuit.
Oh, this one has a couple things. I don't... Okay, that's food, I guess. Sitting on some
We got a
charred up
breakfast.
logs.
Oh,
Now,
Anti-breakfast
G-Web,
screen.
since that's in Arizona, do you recognize generally the area where he's taking these photographs? Like what state park or something?
What racist ass shit is that? I can't know every part of Arizona like that. What the hell? My dog's like slamming the doors here.
I think we saw this last week, right?
It's probably
Yeah.
up on the rim, northern Arizona, because of the trees. What are you doing?
So
See? I thought you might be able to identify the general area.
all right, so we have this one, which is the best picture ever, and then I don't know.
Well,
if that
I don't know
was
about the
most
picture.
So
But
choices here.
now the Daily Gun made out of bullets, was that from a previous show?
Yeah, that one's old.
Okay.
The only one out of these top posts are these first four are new, and then these two got reposted a whole bunch.
Hmm.
I'm voting for the chocolate chip pancakes because I feel like I was ripped off.
I'm gonna go with Smeggy's truck.
What?
Really?
Yeah,
Thanks, Bob.
Ford F-150. I like those trucks.
It does have a G in the back window. Did you see that?
Yes, yes, that's good.
No, I'm asking G-Webs if he saw that.
Yeah, I see it.
Just a little tiny one though. Just put a big giant one in.
It's like what, 3 or 4 inches? I mean, it's not tiny.
Oh, I got some that are a foot across.
I have little tiny ones. I could have put one of those on. That's like a half inch.
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Scroll down a little bit. Okay.
Well, I just want to see where the bottom is. Oh,
I know
okay.
this one was last week, so and I think this one of these eggs ones is
Yeah.
old.
Okay.
So like starting here, I think.
So, breakfast biscuit.
The breakfast biscuit didn't have sausage on it. I would almost consider it. I like the Kalashnikov robots, and I like that puppy dog one.
No, I'm going for Smeggy's truck.
Okay, so that's 2 for Smeggy's truck. What about you, G-Webs?
I'll go with Smeggy's truck.
Oh, Smeggy's truck wins.
Really? No, I'm kidding. That's technically that's 2 right there. I was saying since Bob said it twice, I was going to keep counting it. I'm going with this one. I really like this tree one.
I'm gonna vote for your
You
own.
can tell, like he's like up in the tree, like that could fall down into the wilderness.
Well, it's the fact of it's a unique layout. That's what makes it different and special, and that's why I vote for that one.
It is
Oh,
a nice contrast. And I know what you're saying.
So-
Smeggy, it kind of looks camouflaged. If it fell on the ground and in leaves and stuff, you may never find it.
So it's 2 on 2 between
so that means it goes out to the audience.
the tree
Is it the Gawk tree or is it Smeggy's truck?
or this most awesomest truck. That's so much fun and
I feel
awesome.
like Smeggy feels like he's going to win either way now.
So
I do
over on
feel like
Gun
I'm gonna win
Channels-
either way.
Smeggy,
Over on Gun Channels, put either knife or tree. As to which one you think should win.
What the hell? That's not, heads I win, tails you lose. That's how Dano plays it.
That's awesome.
as I win, tails you lose.
You either get to pick the one with the tree in it or the one with the knife in it. So this one, Or
This one.
this
Yeah.
one.
So you like the way I worked that in?
That was great.
You're a little giddy, aren't you?
Yeah, I
Oh
am.
yeah.
Well, it didn't work. Not getting any votes anywhere except for maybe. I think there's a typo, but it could be a vote for you on YouTube. Or the YouTube side obviously is affected by something. There's a glitch.
Oh, it's all Smeggy's truck.
Well, Moon says knife over on Gun Channels.
Yeah, and they're technically saying tree on the YouTube side, so I guess that's gonna end up taking it to Chris's knife and Glock.
And I think Smeggy's the winner anyway because he gets to drive that truck around all the time.
Which I noticed the back tires already are looking a little thinner than the front
What?
Because of the wheelies.
because of the tire burnouts and stuff. He's probably like doing burnouts around every
Is it
corner.
medication time or was that an hour ago and they're just kicking in?
Talking to me or Smeggy?
You.
Took my medication this morning. I don't need to take it again for a couple hours.
There we go. Hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown.
All right.
Snuck that in on you. You didn't think we were going to have it, and actually, a bunch of people booked out of here when I started asking for money, so they missed it completely. It was a snuck in at the last minute there. All those 10 people or whatever that took off are never going to know who won and who got judged and how Chris won it at the last minute, stealing from Smeggy Instrument. But we were basically done with the show, I think. So we were going to say tomorrow is Thursday, which makes it CCW Day. We're going to talk about, on episode 364, we'll talk about 911 call after an incident and what to say. That should be interesting. Gun stuff, accessories for home defense and carry. And then training, handholds, good idea or bad idea. So I think we're going to talk about some different handholds. Of course, we'll do our gun shop of the day, gun movie, every other thing that we do on a daily basis. So we talked about, Overtack is probably half over by now, and then Never Enough Ammo will be on in about a half an hour. Morning Gun Channels tomorrow in the morning.
All right. Sounds good. Anybody else got anything here, or should we wrap this puppy up?
I got one more thing. And send those tactical pop quiz questions to dailygunshow@gmail.com.
All right.
I've got something. If you live in the Detroit area and you see a truck with a Gun Channels sticker on it, come up and say hello, but approach slowly, because like the Minnesota officer, I startle easily.
All right.
I always like meeting people, so
Keep everybody away. He said come up and meet him, but he says move real slow because he might.
well, yeah. I don't want all the girls bum rushing my truck and startling me. So
Plus, you don't want like bum marks. all
Just
over.
courtesy, so that if one of the ladies comes up and he's with another one of the ladies, then neither one of them has to be embarrassed. It's just courtesy. It's respectful.
You know, if somebody's moving slow, they could be looking to draw on you with a Sharpie.
That's true.
Ask Bob.
There's nothing slow about that Sharpie marker knife fight.
That's true as well. All right. So nobody else got anything? Let's wrap it up. All right. We always end our show on a quote. Today's quote's by Ronald Reagan. Before that, though, I would like to remind everybody, please share, please like, please subscribe. And Ronald Reagan's quote, we will always remember, we will always be proud, we will always be prepared, so we will always be free. Something to keep in mind as you go through your life. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks very much for listening and watching. See you tomorrow.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.
Like a picture, she was laying there. Moonlight dancing on my hair. She woke up and took me by the hand. She's gonna lock me in my Chevy van, and that's